Hi guys, Dan here, and today we're going to be talking about The White Phantom by Patrick McCormack. This is the second book in his series of novels of Arthurian Britain. It was originally intended to be a trilogy, or part of a trilogy, I think, but the third book was actually never published. Yeah, I've already done a review of the first book. The link is downstairs. And the third and final Albion book, it was written, even though it wasn't published, and it is available on the author's website as a PDF download. I think you can download it for free. So I will be able to finish the trilogy at some point, although I may have to read it on my laptop, which is not ideal, but maybe I'll do that. And these novels are all historical fantasies. So, following on from the first book in the series, The Last Companion, where a sort of ragtag group of misfits band together to defeat a crew of piratical raiders, and we pick up a few months after those events. Nay the Silent, who is a Devonian warrior, who has been recuperating from the injuries that he took in that first book at the Sanctuary, which was the area that they were sort of fighting to protect. But his convalescence is disrupted by these three Antagonists warriors. These are like these mystical, magical bogeymen figures, and they're looking for the magic chalice that made King Arthur into the Emperor of Britain many years ago. So now he kills them and then goes on the run, and he goes in search of Budok, who is the hermit from the first book, who was revealed to be one of King Arthur's companions by the name of Bedivere. And meanwhile, Bedivere is also on the run from the Antagonists, and he's looking for Guinevere, King Arthur's widow, and she disappeared 10 years ago after the Battle of Camlan, which was the battle where King Arthur was killed. Right, so is it any good? Well, the short answer is yes. I think the first book in the series, The Last Companion, I really enjoyed that, and this one even steps it up a notch from that one, I reckon. It feels like McCormack, that was I think his first novel. This is his second one, and his voice as an author really matures in this one. I really liked his descriptive prose, especially regarding the landscape that the characters are moving through. It's really evocative, and it sets the tone for the narrative really beautifully. Most of the narrative takes place in the southwest of Britain, and according to the author's website, that's sort of where he's from, or at least where he's based. And you do get the feeling that he does know this landscape inside out. In fact, there's sort of scenes where the landscape almost takes on a character of its own, like its own sort of personality. Especially like there's this one section where the sort of moors in Devon take on this real sense of ominous hostility. It really adds something to the story. McCormack's writing style in general has a good sense of authenticity to it, even though he's introducing these semi-fantastical elements, magical elements into this, what is, supposed to be a historical setting. It's got a sense of believability to it. It helps that in this book he really delves deeper into some of the main characters than he did in the first one. There's a bit of a smaller cast overall, I think, than the first novel. There's some sort of notable new characters. You've got Ceridwen, who is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these names right. They're all sort of old Celtic names, but I'll try my best. So anyway, there's Ceridwen, who's like an old flame of Nay. Regan, who's this sort of untrustworthy travelling bard. Angus, who's an abbot. He's like a warrior monk who lives in the moors. But yeah, the focus is really mainly on Nay and Bedivere, and both of their character arcs are really concerned with them coming to terms with their own flaws. With Nay, it's his struggles with his own self-doubt in his ability to deal with the situation that he finds himself in. And with Bedivere, it's more about his struggles with his own capacity for violence, even sadism potentially. And McCormack plays these ideas out in really a nice way, actually, I think. And so as well as the main characters, I think the antagonists are portrayed with an awful lot of depth as well. They're not sort of outright evil bad guys, They're just people who've got their own different motivations from our protagonists, and they've got their own flaws, their own sense of hubris as well, and definitely they've got a sense of tragedy that runs throughout their narratives. In fact, I think when you actually look at it, there's no real reason why they are the bad guys, except that we're the ones that are following Name Bedivere. They're the protagonists, so from our viewpoint, they're the ones that are in the right. But if you're looking at it from the point of view of either Angus or Vortipor or the Clan Menace tier, who are the main antagonists, then there's no reason why their perspective doesn't have value either. But this doesn't prevent McCormack from being able to give them like a real sense of menace at points. We also get some more of the Arthurian legends woven into the narrative, like he did in the first book with some of the characters, telling us about their memories of King Arthur, stories from a couple of decades ago when Arthur was still alive. And it's nice to see that McCormack, he uses some of the not lesser known necessarily, but parts of the Arthurian mythology that don't come up as often. There's bits about Arthur's son. I won't even try and pronounce his name, but you don't see that very often, and it really made for a powerful part of the narrative. So overall, then, I really enjoyed this book. The first one in the series was great. This one, I think, is even better. It's got a beautifully written setting, really nice character development, and I'm really interested to read more about Nay's character in particular. So hopefully there'll be more of that in the third book, which, like I say, I'm going to have to read on my computer. So I don't know when I'll get around to that. Anyway, bye, I guess.